travel experiences from around the world. The ferry docks and our journey in Andros begins in the port town of Gavria. We chose Andros with a friend in order to have a pleasant long weekend. However, 3 days proved to be insufficient for exploring the second largest island of the Cyclades. We liked the fact that it is just 2 hours by ferry from the port of Rafina, and also that we hadn't heard much about the island, leading us to believe that we would not find ourselves in an overdeveloped and crowded tourist environment. We hadn't organized that much of the trip, as we had a lot of pressure at work during this period, so we went with the mindset of just figuring things out along the way. We decided that we would stay in the main town, Chora, as we heard that it is more lively during this period and that it's a very beautiful settlement. The drive up to Chora is long, and it was then that we realized how big the island really was, and that our time here will not even be enough to visit the basics. We immediately decided to lay out a plan for the rest of our stay. The distance from the port to Chora is 32 kilometers, and we will need a little less than an hour to get there. Most of the route is along the west side of the island, with the sea to our right. The town of Andros lies on a small peninsula on the eastern side of the island. Unlike the rest of the Cyclades complex, the houses here are mansions with tiled roofs. Cars are not allowed in the city center. Once we found a place to park, we came across a large square. Here you'll find the town hall, and behind the square the hospital of the island, but let's hope you'll never have to visit it. The main road that crosses the town also begins here, where you can find anything you need, as it is also the central market. Walking down, we came across taverns and nice cafes, where at night they turn into bars with louder music. Locals recommended that we have our first drinks here because later on in the evening, the bars and clubs are out of the city center. A little further down on our left side, in a small opening, is the Archaeological Museum of the island, which we saw only from the outside. From here, you can also climb down some steps that lead to the beach, as Chora is above sea level. Continuing on the same road, on our left side we found the Maritime Museum. Its exhibits include traditional costumes, ship models, and other artifacts related to shipping. Just after the museum is the Square of the Missing Sailor, where you'll see a large statue of a sailor created by Andros in honor of all sailors who have lost their lives at sea. At the edge of the peninsula lies the ruins of a Venetian castle, and in front of the castle is a lighthouse. Which is said to be the only lighthouse in the world built on a rock in the sea. At the bay north of the town, you will find a few nightclubs where you can have a drink until the morning hours. The main town is very beautiful, and being located in the center of the island makes it a good base for exploring Andros. We wanted to head toward the beaches, so we started from Piso Yalia, located just above Chora. We continued on, but the truth is that they are not that easy to find, as there is no signage. The beach is 9 kilometers from Chora, and from the parking area, you have to walk about 400 meters or climb down some steps. It is early June, and today the beach bar is opening for the season. Thus, the seaweed had not yet been removed from the shore. However, the beach is nice, sandy, and organized. We will stay here for a few hours and then visit a beach called Cyclades, which means the old woman's bound. I think that the name alone would make you want to visit it. Legend says that the name came when the Turks, having occupied the island of Andros, wanted to conquer the so-called Upper Castle. Unable to achieve their goal, they sent an old woman along with her pregnant daughter to seek help from the Greeks in the castle. At night, she opened a gate of the fortress, allowing the Turks to invade and massacre its inhabitants. So, the woman, having remorse for her act of treason, jumped from the hill and petrified as she hit the water. The beach is located 23 kilometers south of the main town, and after parking your car on the road, you have to walk on a small path which leads down to the sea. It's a small beach with sand and fine pebbles. It is not organized, so you should bring some water with you. After the beach, we will go back to the Bay of Corti. There we will have dinner at a tavern that was highly recommended to us by locals. The population here is about 750, and there are many taverns, cafes, and also a marina for yachts. After we ate and relaxed, we returned to Chora for a leisurely drink, and then went to bed, as we had been awake since 5:30 a.m. The next morning, after breakfast in Chora, we set off for Halcollimionas beach. At first, we wanted to go to Achla beach, but some locals had informed us that the road there is not that easy to ride due to erosion from rainfall. Furthermore, the boat that takes you there leaves you for several hours, and because it's not organized and we didn't have an umbrella, we would get sunburned, and we didn't want that at all. But two friends we made on the island brought us some shots to see what we had missed. The beach is located north of Chora, at a distance of about 22 kilometers. It is a quiet, sandy bay with crystal clear blue water. Halcollimionas is 13 kilometers from Chora, just across the west side of the island. It's a beach about 100 meters long, of sand and pebbles, and has a beach bar that plays loud music. It's easily accessible as the road is paved next to the sea. "500 meters further south is another small beach called Apothikes. To get there, you have to ride 2.5 kilometers and then walk a few meters as well. During high season, this beach is also organized. After a few hours, having enjoyed our beers on the beach, we begin to move towards Batsi, the most touristic place in Andros. It's located 17 kilometers from Halcollimionas beach, and the route is the same that leads to the port, Gavrio. Batsi has 1,000 residents, and it hosts a large number of tourists every year. It's also known for its lively nightlife. Bars, cafes, and restaurants are scattered throughout the town, and locals told us that we should eat some fresh fish and try some local specialties. We wanted to eat in Chora, so ignoring their advice, we took the road back. The distance from Batsi to Chora is 26 kilometers, and it will take about 40 minutes to get there. The next day is our last on the island. We are going to leave with the afternoon ferry, but until then we want to spend some time in Gavrio and visit Paliopolis and Zorgos beach. Once again we had our breakfast in Chora and then headed off to the north part of the island. We passed through Paliopolis on the way to Gavrio, 17 kilometers after Chora. Paleopoli was the first capital of Andros, and it is an important archaeological site, as in this area they have uncovered remarkable finds. The submerged ancient breakwater located here is visible even out of water. Continuing north, we passed through Gavrio in order to continue on to Zorkos. This bay was mentioned to us by locals as one of the most beautiful on the island. It's at a distance of 16 kilometers from Gavrio, and the route is really beautiful. The truth is that I was a bit stressed and didn't enjoy it as much as I could because I forgot to fill up on gas in Gavrio and my tank was on reserve. After Gavrio, there isn't any gas station, so I was definitely testing my bike's limits. The last 4 kilometers of the road is dirt road, but very easy to ride. Approaching the beach, we found a large hotel in the middle of nowhere, and shortly after that we were very impressed by the view of the bay. It is beautiful, but we were disappointed when we got there. We were told that there's a tavern for water and whatever else we need, but unfortunately it was closed. Being dehydrated, we couldn't stay for long in the sun, so after a while we decided to take the road back to Gavrio. So we begin our way back not in the best spirits, as we couldn't stay at this beautiful beach. I think I liked it more than any other we visited. After 35 minutes of riding, we arrived in Gavrio very thirsty, and tried to find a place to drink water and our last ouzel on the island. Gavrio is Andros' port, and also one of the big tourist spots on the island. It is located on the south side of a natural bay, and if you choose to stay here, a few kilometers south, you will find 2 beautiful beaches to swim at, St. Peter and the Gold Coast. You will find many cafes and taverns in Gavrio. One of them is where we had the best seafood dishes we tried on the island. More information can be found at tripment.net. Andros has breathtaking scenery and offers many experiences to its visitors. You need at least 5 days to get a good taste of the island, so I just may have to come back again. Certainly the period we visited, in the beginning of June, was not suitable for 2 single men, as there were very few tourists. However, we had a great time, enjoying the sea and the food.